Hello there. Welcome back to the lands of Aecathan. No professionals and only a tiny bit of fancy tech. Just a group of women playing an all-original game of Dungeons & Dragons. I'm Jeff, and I have a travel tip for you. If you're traveling the desert and you happen to see someone who looks sad, be sure to stop and ask them how they're doing.
It's terrible. They're all terrible.
That one is
How
one
you
of
doing?
the worst.
Yeah, how you
How
doing?
you doing?
Yeah, who knew Joey was from the Firefly Oasis?
How you doing?
How you doing? Uh-huh. Well, let me catch you up on what happened last time. It was a lot.
Oof, boy.
While resting in anticipation of breakfast with Athgarr, the four and Athgarr were shunted into a strange dream world full of talking bears and mermen and baby Pegasus and a smoke dragon and the dreaded Frempermen. Fortunately, it turned out that a friend was responsible, and the waking world reasserted itself afterwards in its normal fashion. Unfortunately, that's where things began to take a turn for the worse. Athgarr was not at all as the four remembered him, and the only way he would agree to accompany them on their continuing mission was as hired help. After negotiating the fee, the group headed to Thunder's Edge to pick up supplies. Zorith spent the evening with Aloric at the Ivory's Wrath, sitting at the bar, sipping on a very strong drink. After which, everyone got a good night's sleep at the Four Home with no more strange dream adventures. In the morning, after gathering up everything they'd need, Zorith teleported the group back to the Firefly Oasis in preparation for their journey further into the unexplored reaches of the God's Wrath Desert. And that's where we pick up. You are standing in the center of basically the meeting square, for lack of a better term, of the Firefly Oasis, and you see the chieftain of the Oasis, Tef, jogging toward you.
Oh, yeah, and he said, yeah, I remember that now. That we got there quicker than he expected. Oops.
Is all well in the Oasis?
So far. Hello! Welcome back. You do, move fairly quickly.
Tef, this is Athgarr. He's joining us.
A pleasure, Chieftain. Oh. You can just call me Tef. Everyone does. Tef. It's a little difficult to see him, you realize, because the sun is just coming up here.
Oh, we apologize.
Sorry.
It's so early, yeah.
Did we get you out of bed?
No, I was awake. I just wasn't dressed yet.
Oh dear.
So,
Sorry about
I'm
that.
glad it's still kind of dark because I absolutely have no idea what I'm wearing.
Well, we're gonna be going on to Western Aecathan.
Oh.
Do you have any recommendations as to where to go?
Oh, never been there. I've only heard about it. Gaygo's been telling me a little bit. She's still here.
Oh.
Oh. Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
we haven't been gone for long.
The Jogravanans were going up over Mount.
Likely over the Dunemount, yes.
So we think that they're headed to Western Aecathan. So that would seem to be the path.
Well, they should have left a trail for you to follow. So that won't be difficult. Plus, I'm betting that Gaygo go with you.
Ooh. That would be awesome.
She's been, we've been discussing it, and I think I've got her convinced that what used to keep her out of out of Western areas doesn't exist anymore, and so she should be fine.
What was keeping her away?
Well, apparently that section of the wild was the domain of a group of dragons that no longer exists.
Oh.
Crystals.
Yeah, the gemstone dragons, she called them. And so I've been trying to say, well, you know, if there's a country that you're not allowed to go to because there's people there that object to you showing up, and then all those people are no longer there, there's not going to be anyone to object, and therefore you should be able to go.
Yeah.
You didn't, by chance, run into any of my family members this morning, did you?
No, I came straight here from my hut.
I didn't really get a chance to say a proper goodbye.
Oh no. I heard all about it.
Oh no. Were they upset?
Well, your grandfather was, right pissed.
Uh-oh.
Your uncle and your cousin, they were a little disappointed. But now that you're here, that should be fine. I'm not entirely sure what the best method of going to talk to your grandpa. But you'll figure it out.
Okay. I look at the others. Would it be okay if I took a few minutes to complete a personal errand?
Of course. Tell him hi for us.
I will. So I head toward, I guess, the shop to see if they're there yet.
Which shop? Are you going to your
Right.
uncle's store or your cousin's store?
Cousins first.
Okay. You get there, it's closed up.
Okay. And so is my uncle's shop nearby?
Not too far away. I mean, nothing in the Oasis is too far from.
All right, so I'll look
Everywhere
in the
else.
shop first.
Doesn't seem to be anybody there.
Okay, so I'll head toward their home.
Okay. Well, remember, your uncle, his house is connected to the shop. Your cousin
Right.
lives on her own.
So I'll start with my uncle, since I'm here.
Okay.
I'll knock quietly, in case they're asleep.
For a moment, there's no sound. Then, slow footsteps approaching the door. The door opens. You see your Uncle Rynnald, kind of bleary-eyed.
I'm so sorry for the early hour, Uncle.
Oh,
I'm
goodness.
back and wanted to say hello.
Oh, come in, come in. I was just about to put coffee on.
Oh, I go in.
All right. What are the rest of you doing while this is going on? Tef offers to open up Bundrigo's, so at least you have a place to sit and wait.
Yeah, that's fine.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. So he leads you over to the Delirious Traveler and unties the the entrance flap and pulls it aside to let you in. It's relatively dark in there, but he immediately goes over and lights a couple candles and sits them at a table.
Thanks, Tef.
Ah, no problem.
Well, the Joggervanans haven't been back.
No. Honestly, I didn't expect him to. You're muted.
Tried to attack us.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they're mad.
Well, I've no doubt about that. But, alright. Well, let me see if I can, figure out how to get some coffee going. I doubt we'll see Bundrigo for an hour or so yet.
If you want to start your day, I mean, we've had breakfast. We're okay.
Nah, that's alright. I think I need it. But I'm willing to share.
So nice.
Alright. So, back to Gwenlauren. Rynnald manages to fix some coffee. He invites you to sit down at the table, and it's where you had dinner when you were here before. And while it's percolating, he kind of leans on the back of the chair across from you and says, "So, was there something that was an emergency that you had to leave so quickly?"
Well, yes, you probably heard about the battle and the slaves that were freed. We needed to get them to a safe location and to a place where they could start to begin a new life. And I do apologize that I didn't give a proper goodbye. I don't want you to think that there was any slight toward you or the other members of the family. It was just we had our hands full with a rather large group of people that needed a lot of assistance.
Well, that makes a certain amount of sense. And do not worry, I understand, and I am sure that Rona will understand as well. I'm not entirely certain about my father.
He was that upset.
He was a bit angry.
Does he realize what was happening?
I don't know. But I do know that he said that there was nothing short of the gods walking the surface of the earth that should have kept you from at least saying goodbye.
So noted. I'll talk with him. But I think it's also important to remember I've not ever had family. And so I don't know a lot of the things that are expected of being a member of a family. That's just not something. I've never had anyone that I needed to say goodbye to in order to be appropriate. Like, I've never done any of these things, so
Well,
I
then,
apologize.
let me give you a little piece of advice. Lead off with that, but before you get to that, start with I'm sorry.
I will.
It will go over much better.
Well, you know him far better than I, so I will take you that advice. For sure.
He is very often like a banked fire. He will retain heat for a long time.
Is there anything else that might sweeten his disposition and let him know that I am truly remorseful?
Just keep saying I'm sorry.
I can do that.
Anytime he yells, say I'm sorry.
You think he's going to yell at me?
No, I'm certain of it. Well, he won't necessarily be yelling at you. He will be yelling in general.
I'll try to keep that in mind.
He will wave his arms and he will raise his voice and he will walk around and he will say all sorts of interesting things, but really it is just his way. He likes to make certain that everyone knows exactly how he feels. And then he will be done and it will be like a sandstorm. It blows and blows and blows and blows, and then suddenly it is gone.
Okay. I appreciate the insight.
He turns and grabs the pot of coffee and brings a couple glasses over and sits them down, pours you a cup, pours himself a cup, takes a sip, just kind of...
I'll sip mine as well.
So, where did you take the slaves?
So I give him the full background on how we brought them into the mansion and fed them and clothed them and mended their things and mended them, and then took them to the sanctum.
And tell me about this sanctum. What is it like? What is there?
I describe it to him as best I can. I'm not as familiar with it as some of the others who have spent more time there than I have, but I tell him about, what typically happens there and the temples and so forth.
Interesting. Does not make that island a target for the people who do not like those gods?
Probably. I think that it has its own protections. I don't know much about that, but I know that they're not without defenses.
Well, I would hope so. Because if you're going to put all of those temples together like that, it definitely seems like a prime target for people who do not like those temples or those gods or people who worship those gods.
Do you know those who oppose them?
Well, I believe you stole slaves from them.
Ah, yes.
I have not heard anything like that from over the Dunemount, although I will admit I have not heard much.
What have you heard?
Something. Something went wrong over there. It was similar to some sort of catastrophe, but these are everything I am telling you is from quite a while ago. We have not received anyone from over the Dunemount since I was a child.
So the Jogravanan, when their caravans come through heading in that direction, do they not return?
No,
Interesting.
I would have to ask Tef to be sure, but I do believe that they are only going in one direction. But there have been quite a few.
Yes. That's what we're afraid of.
Again, I would ask Tef, he would know for certain, but I am guessing that there have been at least a dozen.
Well, then that's a lot more people that we can rescue.
If they survive the trip to wherever they are going.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for anyone that might have been left behind. Do you know where my grandfather might be this morning?
No, he will be at his house. He will most likely be fishing.
And Arona, when will she be around?
I am... Wait. And he gets up and walks over and opens the flaps for his window and kind of looks out and goes, probably about another hour or so.
I don't know how long I'll be here. We are heading over the Dunemount ourselves
Ooh.
to Western Aecathan, and so I don't know how long I'll be able to stay, but I did want to come and talk with you before I headed out.
Well, I am glad to know that you are all right.
Well, thank you for your understanding and patience. I have much to learn.
Just remember, I'm sorry, grandfather.
Yes.
That
I'll
will
remember.
go a long way to moving the sandstorm off to the side.
Very well. I'm going to head for his house. Do you think he'll be up by now? You said
Oh
fishing?
yes. The sky has begun to lighten. He is awake.
Are there any particular fishing lures or things that are his favorites?
No, he makes everything that he uses.
That's what I figured. Okay. Well, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks. I'll head for grandfather's.
Okay. Back at the Delirious Traveler. Tef figures out how to make coffee. And at one point, the ladder from the second level comes down, and you see a bedraggled head pop down. Ooh, good morning, Chieftain. I see we are getting an early start this morning. We needed to borrow a table and some coffee. Oh, that is fine. I will be down in 30 or 40 minutes. The head disappears and the stairs pull back
hilarious.
up. He takes a while to wake up.
I don't blame him.
So, Tef has brought over a pot of coffee and cups.
Are y'all just sitting there in silence?
I mean, there's not much to talk about right now.
Well, Athgarr clears his throat softly.
Yes.
I would like to know, for future reference, who am I taking my orders from?
Ah.
Well, that's a good question. What do you think, Aribell?
Orders.
That's true.
Attempt to
We
incest.
work as a collective.
We will ask your advice when warranted, and then as a group we'll decide what to do. We'll go from there.
Should
Same
we
Always been.
find ourselves in conflict, what role would you like me to assume? Do you wish me to step out front? Do you wish me to stay back as spell support?
Well, we have two fighters who are often out front. That would be Aribell and Gwen. Which do you think is your strong suit at this point?
I'm comfortable with both.
Well, that doesn't help.
I think it may depend on the particular fight.
Yeah.
I mean, use your best guesstimation.
I think you've proven yourself in previous combat. Make good decisions. You're lending your expertise. Want to get in the way of.
I will assume spell support unless you direct me otherwise.
All right.
And he just kind of steps back.
I drink more coffee.
I drink more coffee. And I just shake my head. Like, constantly. Just every once in a while I'll take a drink of coffee and just shake my head and put my coffee down and then
I'm considering adding something to the coffee.
shit, no joke. Just shaking my head.
Back to Gwen.
Yes.
As you are making your way along the edge of the water toward your grandfather's hut, you hear a growling.
Oh, the panther.
Indeed. I'll say, good morning. It's me, Gwen Lauren.
The growling continues.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm here to apologize to Grandfather. Please don't attack me before I can do so.
You don't see the panther, but you hear him.
Reese, I understand that I have wronged my grandfather, and as always, I appreciate your defense of him. I hope to make it up to him. I'm just gonna keep walking.
Okay.
Unless I get attacked by a big...
If you would, make a perception check for me.
You would ask that of me, wouldn't you?
Eventually.
26.
By not looking, you are able to determine where the panther is, because the low growl continues and doesn't change in volume as you walk. The panther is staying in the foliage, but it is pacing you.
Okay.
Eventually, you round a small group of palm trees and you spot your grandfather sitting on a stone at the edge of the water with a long bamboo stick with a string on the end of it.
Good morning, grandfather. I'm sorry. If you'd care to hear my explanation, I could better share with you why I didn't come to say goodbye. But I realized that I definitely angered you and I may have scared you. So I do apologize, quite genuinely.
Scared me. Didn't even know you were alive until 4 or 5 days ago. Just started to get to know you. Go into town looking for you. You're gone. Not a word. Not even a note.
I'm sorry, grandfather.
Well, you should be. That is absolutely no way to treat your elder.
You realize I've never had a family, and so I have no idea how to deal with one or what the expectations are. So it did not occur to me that I would need to send word, because I've never had anyone to send word to before. But I am sorry.
Well, of all the things Wait. And you see him just kind of stop, and his head tilts.
What?
Damn it.
What?
How can I be mad at you if you're right?
Well, I don't know how to do family. I've never had anyone that I needed to send a note to before. Well, there was one person that I would send notes to, but that was different. But there was no one that would have been angry if I didn't send a note. So I didn't realize that that was an expectation. Now I know, and I will be certain not to make the same mistake twice.
He's just kind of sitting there stewing.
I would never try to deliberately snub you. I am too excited about this new relationship. I certainly don't want to make you angry.
The panther walks out of the underbrush,
Priest is angry with me too.
walks right up to Theo, and stands there for a minute, then lowers its head and kind of bumps him on the shoulder. All right, all right.
Are you the kind of grandfather that likes hugs for apologies?
I don't know. Let's try it and find out.
Okay. So I go up and give him a hug and a smooch on the cheek, which I've never done. Like, this is not something I do ever.
And he just sits there for a second, and then you feel his torso shift because the cat butted him again. And he's like, all right. And he puts his arms around you and hugs you back.
If there's a way to do so, I'll try to pull the cat in, because I honestly just want to get a hug on the cat too. Because big kitty.
Make a persuasion check.
22.
The cat allows it for about 5 seconds and then just kind of
I'll take it.
shimmies out.
That's good. I kind of adore your cat.
Nah, it's because you got good taste. He, without looking, just kind of slides over on the rock to make room for you to sit down.
I do. Do you know that I just recently learned how to swim? Did I tell you about the learning how to swim part?
I don't remember. But how come you didn't know how?
Well, there weren't a lot of opportunities to learn how to swim in Thunder's Edge. And for a lot of my life, I didn't have a lot of recreation time. And if I did, I certainly wouldn't go try to find a body of water to drown myself in, since I wouldn't know what I was doing. That would not go well. But it's quite delightful. And so I've also not done this before. You know, the fishing.
You've never gone fishing?
No. I've eaten fish before. We stopped at a cove, and there were fish, and I tried them, and it was good. But I've never caught one or been with anyone who was catching fish.
Oh. As you say that, his pole goes and starts to, and he's like, aha, well, you're about to see one.
Do you have a fish?
I think so. And he starts pulling a little bit sideways and up. And he's like, all right, come on.
Do you need a hand?
Nope. I got it. Just gotta make sure that I don't break the line. And he eventually pulls it in enough that he's able to leave one hand on the pole and reach out and grab the rope, or it's very fine, looks like a braided vine string. and he grabs the rope and then lets the pole go, and he pulls it in, and he holds it up, and you see that there is a fish, probably about maybe a little over a foot in length, wriggling on the end of the hook.
You got one.
Yep.
What kind of fish is it? Is it an eating fish?
Oh yeah. This is breakfast.
Does it still wiggle when you cook it?
Nope. He takes the rope and sort of lays it down in the sand and reaches behind the rock and picks up a club and goes whack.
Oh.
And it stops wriggling.
Yeah.
Well, you can let him suffocate, but that's cruel.
That does seem cruel.
Yeah. And then he reaches down and slowly unhooks it and then grabs the fish and just tosses it to you.
It's slimy.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do with it?
No, just hang on to it. He reaches
Easier said than
reaches
done.
reaches down and reaches under the rock and pulls out some sort of wriggling grub that he hooks onto the hook and then takes the pole and flings it back out there.
You just want me to hold this thing?
Yep.
But it's so gross.
Yep. That's part of fishing. Just wait till we get to cleaning them.
You're dirty?
Take your finger, run it along the fish from the tail to the head.
Okay, I do that.
And you run it against the grain of the fish's scales. Feel those?
Yes.
All that's got to come off before we cook them.
Oh. Yuck.
Well, you wouldn't want to eat them.
No.
Cut up your insides.
Wow. Fish are dangerous foods.
Well, some. There's some out there that are poisonous. If you don't cook them long enough, poison whoever's eating them. You
But
do
this
cook
is
them long
worth it.
enough. Well, yeah.
Do you eat things that are not fish?
Yeah. But I
Are
like
fish your
fish.
favorite?
I like fish.
Okay.
The cat likes fish.
Ah. I guess I'd better learn how to fish then.
And the panther it chooses this moment to open his mouth wide and lick all the way around the inside of his mouth.
So he does.
Yeah.
Should I give this to him?
No. Not good for the cats to eat him with the scales on either.
I see.
I mean, he can digest them, but he gets mighty cranky.
Well, as one would expect. Do you have a fire or that you cook this on, or
Yeah. Back up
pot
at the
or
house. Yeah.
I stand there and just continue to hold the fish?
Okay. Well, eventually he manages to pull in 2 more. And
Does he ask me to hold those too?
the second one, yes. The third one, he just leaves on the string and says, "All right."
I follow him.
So he leads you back to the house and shows you how one goes about cleaning such a thing. And then how to degut it. And then how to start to cook it. And he puts 2 of them on the grill that he has going and flips the other one to the cat.
breakfast, priest.
Priest is too busy eating.
Well, I have to say, grandfather, I liked fish better when I didn't realize all that went into catching them.
Yeah, well,
It's
that
hard.
that may be. Well, yeah, that's why you appreciate much more when somebody else does all the work for you and you just get to eat it.
I will appreciate it more now.
Yep. Yeah, if you're interested, if you want to buy some, we got a fisherman in the village. That's all he does.
Well, I think I'd rather go fishing with you, though. It is interesting catching them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Seems like there's some technique to it.
Yeah. You'll learn. It's one of those things you learn as you do. Figure out how hard to
Better
pull,
practice.
how to set the hook once you get the nibble. A lot of times you get the nibble, you try to set the hook, and the fish has made off with your bait, and you pull back an empty hook, and then you just got to try again.
I know I have much to learn about fishing and about a lot of other things.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. All right, and so first lesson. Next time you leave, you run by and say, "Hey T, I'm leaving."
I will. If I can. Quite honestly, sometimes I'm in the middle of something crazy but I will, if I can, I will, and if I can't, I'll send you a note.
All right. Yep. I don't think I can ask for much more. So, where are your friends?
I left them back in town. We have a mercenary along with us. I thought it better to come meet you without him.
I thought that elf wasn't going to follow you anymore once you went back.
It's not the elf.
Oh.
It's Lord Athgarr, Tremaine's son.
You hired a lord's son? The hell'd you do that for?
So you know that I was employed by / raised in Lord Tremaine's household, right?
Well, you said you were Lion Clan.
Yes. One of my responsibilities was keeping track of the young lord, and he and I were children together in the household. So we have history, and it's complicated. And right now he is very angry with us and insisting on accompanying us only under the condition that he is employed by us. He's being a huge dick.
All right, I'm not following why what he's asking is bad. I mean, he's asking to get paid for what he does.
He wants it to be clear that his relationship to us is nothing more than professional. It's
And
basically like a huge FU to all of us.
so wasn't always like that.
Correct. I grew up with him. He was, until recently, the closest thing to family I had.
Well, I think you traded
So-
up.
I have to agree there because I'm hoping that you're not going to start requesting payment in order to be in my company.
Yeah, I think you're pretty safe in that bet.
Yeah, it's beyond insulting. But that's how he wants it, and though it would not have been my decision to bring him with us, the others wanted to, so I deferred to their better judgment. Because my judgment where he is concerned is not great.
So, you're wanting him to go back to thinking of you as family.
Our history is complicated. I have cared a lot about him because he is a member of my clan. He is the son of the Lord. We grew up together. And for a brief moment, I thought that maybe there might be something more, but that is not the case. And so it is awkward, and he's a jerk.
But he wasn't always.
No.
Then why is he
not
now?
always. I recently discovered that the other members of the Four sent him away because he and I were arguing. And so they told him to go rather than me. And he is angry with them for that and angry with me. I don't even know why he's angry with me, other than that we kept arguing. I don't know what his problem is. I really don't. But he spent the time away doing things that have changed him, and he now wants nothing to do with anyone, especially us, especially me, which is really hurtful.
That's why he agreed to come along with you. Because he wants nothing to do with any of you.
I don't know why he joined. I think his job was up and we were there. So at least the way he says it, it sounds like it was just a matter of convenience.
I've been offered jobs that sounded like complete and total shit. But they would have been convenient. I still said no.
Well, if you can understand him, then you are far wiser than I. Because I can make no sense of what he's doing. I have spent half my life trying to figure him out, and I think I'm more confused now than I've ever been. But what's clear to me is that he could walk away from me without even looking back. And now that he is back, he wants as little to do with me as possible. So it is just very clear to me that I was mistaken. There was like a prophecy or somebody who thought they saw him in my future.
He's traveling with you again.
Saw him in my future as a partner.
He's traveling with you again.
That's not what a partner is. I'm traveling with 3 other people, and they are also not my partners. A romantic partner.
Ah, okay.
Good
All right.
Lord.
I was about to say, I thought they were your partners.
That's not what I mean by partners.
All right. I haven't had a relationship with a woman in at least a decade. You got to be a little more specific.
Yeah, he gave me an ultimatum, and he followed through on it. He left. He told me that if I didn't do what he wanted, he would leave me and I wouldn't know where he was or what he was doing. And that's what he did.
What was it he wanted?
He wanted me to treat him, well, I wanted him to leave the four. And he said he would, under the condition that I would have no idea where he was or what he was doing or whether he was safe. Because he knew I would never go for that, because it has long been my job to keep him safe. He was trying to make a point that it was no longer my job. I got that point loud and clear. When he left and told me nothing about where he was going, and even took care to use a magical item to ensure I couldn't find out where he went. He wanted to be sure that I couldn't follow him or be aware of where he was or what he was doing.
All right. I'm obviously missing something. You wanted him to leave. He did leave, but in a way you didn't like. I'm really confused.
I wanted him to be safe. I wanted him to find adventurers that would not walk such a dangerous path. I mean, for a lot of reasons. I mean, partly it's because he's the son of the Lord. I'd be a total pariah if I get him killed. And in fact, he sort of did get killed with us, and I reacted badly to that.
So he's undead now. That would explain a lot.
We were able to, Aribell was able to save him.
Huh. No funeral, no foul.
But it scared me, because that's when I realized that it would be more than just losing the son of the Lord, that it would be losing part of myself. So I wanted him to go to keep him safe, and he had a hard time with that.
But he left.
Well,
And
not when I asked
he's
him
not
to.
undead, so
Right.
he's alive.
Well,
So he was safe.
maybe. Well, I don't know. No, he was not safe. He was off doing horrible things, I suspect. Not that he'll talk about it now, but I wanted him to go so that he would be safe, and he instead chose a very dangerous path that was anything but safe.
So
And I didn't know what he was doing.
no, wait. So you didn't trust your partners to help you keep him safe.
It's not that I don't trust them. It's that my concern was not completely put away. Basically, we can't save him if we're not okay. And sometimes we're not okay.
Yeah, nobody's okay all the time. I'm not okay all the time, and all I do is sit here and fish and play with a cat.
It's not the same. In the battle where he fell, it could have easily have been any of us. And were it Aribell who fell as well, then there would be no one to bring him back. So it's not a matter of trust, it's just a matter of opportunity that we're in danger a lot. I had hoped that he would choose a path to explore that would be a little less dangerous than the one we were on. It doesn't matter now. He's changed, and
You know there is no such thing as a safe path. Something might fall on your house and collapse the roof and kill you.
there may not be a safe path, but there are definitely more dangerous ones. And I don't know of many paths that are as dangerous as those that we've been walking.
And yet, you're still here to talk about it. Meaning that you have faced those dangers and you beat them. Or got away from them.
I've been fortunate.
And he wouldn't have been fortunate with you.
I don't know. He fell once. I didn't want to see that happen again. I couldn't bear it.
And yet he's with you now.
Not by my choice. This isn't my choice.
Did you tell your partners you didn't want him along?
They know.
Did you say the words?
No. Well, he was standing right there.
You don't want him along. Does it really matter if saying that would make him angrier?
No. It doesn't matter. He's been paid, so now we're stuck with him.
What were the terms?
A week.
Oh, well, there you go. Either get him killed over the week or send him away when you're done.
I'll mention that to them. And I don't want to see him killed. I mean, he's an idiot, but I don't want him harmed. I suspect he's harmed himself enough. He's all messed up. Because he's an idiot and went off on his own. And didn't tell anyone where he was going.
He leans over the table and kind of cups your chin in his hand and says, in all seriousness, if he's that messed up, he may be trying to get himself killed. Just something to watch out for.
Great. One more thing to worry about.
No.
Suicidal mercenaries.
Hey, if he does it, it's on him, not you. Not any of you.
Yeah, that's not how that works.
Yeah, it is. You go back to old Lord Tremaine and tell him his son's a weak, pathetic fool, got himself killed, and just shut the hell up.
He's not weak and pathetic, he's just super stupid.
If he gets himself killed on purpose, that's weak and it's really pathetic.
I'll let him know that you said so.
Feel free to bring him. I'll tell him myself.
Come back with me. You can meet him and tell him yourself.
What do you
You're
think?
in town.
What do you think, Pris? You want to go into the big city? The cat just looks up and yawns, and then curls up on his paws and just...
Someone has a full belly.
Yeah, I think somebody wants to stay here. All right, well, you know where I'll be.
Don't say anything to him about the whole... I don't know, me having feelings for him thing. I mean, I'm sure he already knows, and it's water under the bridge anyway, so just maybe don't say anything. Just, you can meet him. How about that?
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, back at the Delirious Traveler. About a half an hour later, the ladder comes down again, and Bundrigo comes down looking like he did the last time you saw him. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you had something to drink. If you need anything else, let me know. I am going to start opening things up and getting ready for the breakfast crowd. So, Tef has been asking you, all about what happened in the mansion and what happened after you left, and
Honestly, I'm not really sure how much. I mean, like, I'm just answering questions, and it is uncomfortable as fuck. I am just here right now. Everybody else can pitch in, but
I am
not
drinking my
saying much.
coffee. And
I mean, I'm not going to be rude to Tef,
no,
I get it.
but as uncomfortable as a quiet, as a non-talking conversation that's been going on for however long she's been gone, it just gets more and more awkward.
All right. Bundrigo eventually brings out a basket of bread and some honey butter. He brings it to the table and asks if you're interested in breakfast.
what time is it? Like, when did we eat breakfast?
Probably would have been an hour and a half ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Because you ate breakfast and then you left.
Right.
So literally that was the last thing you all probably did before you appeared in the Oasis.
I'm not hungry. Thank you, though.
I'm actually not hungry.
Me too.
Well, if you change your mind, be sure to let me know. I will be happy to provide you with something to nibble on.
You are most kind.
I will leave the bread just in case you change your mind.
I think I'm gonna get some air. And Aribell gets up and walks outside.
Okay.
Literally have nothing to say. I'm just sitting.
And after
I get out my lute and I actually play through the new song.
Okay. Tef waits until you're done and then says, "That was beautiful. Has it got a name yet?"
Nope. I've been trying to figure out a title.
Well, it's very pretty. I don't know. Kind of makes me think of your palm fronds blowing in the breeze.
Oh, thanks.
No, thank you. Nice way to start the morning.
So, I play the dragon song.
Do you sing it too or just play it?
No, yeah, I'll play the whole thing.
Okay.
I'll sing it too.
All right. He waits until you finish that one and then just kind of applauds and you hear clapping from across the room, and Bundrigo is just kind of standing there with wide eyes clapping.
And then I'll just play some...
Well, at this point, Tef says, "Whew, I could sit and listen to you play all day,
Oh,
but I probably should get to actually started on my work for the day too.
that sounds like a good idea.
So, you know where my house is. If you need anything, just come find me. And I'll probably be back here around lunchtime."
All right. I'm gonna send a message to Gaygo.
Okay.
Gaygo, we are back at the Oasis at Rodrigo's,
Bundrigo's, yeah.
Bondrigo's. Do you have time to join us?
There's a pause. I wondered when you'd be back. Yes, I'm actually just getting ready to head there myself for some breakfast, so I'll join you shortly.
Gaygo is going to join us. And then I continue to sip my coffee
Okay.
and strum a little. I'll just play something instrumental.
Okay. And Tef bows to everybody and walks over, has a few words with Bundrigo, and then heads out. Aribell, what are you doing outside?
Probably walk down to the water, just contemplative.
Okay. Gwen, as you and your grandfather walk around the edge of the water, ahead of you stands Aribell, staring out at the water.
Hey, Aribell.
Hi, Gwen.
You remember my
Yeah.
grandfather?
Theo, it's lovely to see you again.
Lady Aribell, good morning.
I hope you had a good reunion.
I'm still apologizing.
Nah, you're done with that. Taught her how to fish.
It's true.
Taught her how to clean fish.
It was disgusting.
It
But-
can't.
Interesting, nonetheless.
Yeah, not my favorite thing.
No, but it did get me breakfast, so, you know, I guess second breakfast.
Everyone's in the Delirious Traveler.
Everyone?
Everyone?
Not everyone. You're out here.
Oh, I can only take so much of the silence and awkward and guilt.
That good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I brought my grandfather along to witness the silence and awkward and guilt. So that'll be fun.
Once we get on the road, we'll be busy and we won't have time to dwell on it, hopefully.
One can only hope. Shall we go in?
Sure.
Lead the way.
Turn and walk back in.
Okay. Zorith, Tasha, you see Aribell walk back in with Gwen and Gwen's grandfather.
Everyone, you remember my grandfather?
Wave.
Grandfather.
Tasha,
Before.
Zorith.
And this is Lord Athgarr, hired tool.
How does Athgarr, does he have a reaction at the grandfather?
Because I don't think she told him.
No, she deliberately didn't tell him.
Lord Athgarr, this is my grandfather.
Athgarr looks up at this. And he bows. Athgarr Skend. It's a pleasure. Yeah, you're Tremaine's boy, all right.
Well, isn't this fun? So, what's the plan?
Well, I sent a message to Gaygo and she's on her way here.
Very
I
well.
thought we could pick her brain about what we're heading into and see if she'll go with us.
Smart. Grandfather, would you like to join us as we wait?
There's coffee.
I forgot who was talking when we talked about the Jogravanan only going one way. Were we all there for that?
Going one
No,
way.
that was just Gwen and her uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, so right now Gwen's the only one of you that knows that.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
So, but I can catch them up on what I've been doing this morning that I've met with others.
Theo is just, he has retreated a little bit to lean against one of the tent poles inside the Traveler. And he is mirroring Athgar's kind of slouch against another tent pole, and they're just staring at each other.
Isn't Theo blind?
Hmm?
Isn't Theo blind?
Mm-hmm. And yet, he appears to be looking right at Athgarr.
Okay, just checking.
Hmm.
Oh, boys.
I just ignore this entire testosterone display and go about my business.
After a couple minutes, Theo walks right up to Athgarr to stand basically chest to chest and just slightly off center to the point where he can say something into Athgar's ear without anyone else hearing. And then he turns and walks out of the tent. And Athgarr just stares after him for a moment and then leans up off the pole and follows him out of the tent.
No.
No, we
I-
can't stop them.
I go after. Like, this is not good.
I
Grandfather,
go to,
wait up.
I go to Bandrico and I say, Do you have anything that I can put in my coffee that might be alcohol?
But of course. What type of alcohol were you thinking?
Rum.
Excellent. Would you like light rum or dark rum?
Oh, dark to go with the dark coffee, of course.
Coming right up.
Fantastic.
I'm running after my grandfather.
You
Sit right here.
you go out of the traveler and find yourself nose to nose with your grandfather, who looks at you and says, "Go
What are you
back
doing?
inside.
What are you doing?
The young man and I are going to have a talk."
Okay, I literally asked you not to say anything.
Yes, you did. Do you remember me agreeing?
No.
No, but I thought we had an agreement. What are you gonna do? Can we not do this? He and I have things we need to discuss, but this isn't the time, or the place, or the person.
Yeah, go back inside.
No. This is my business. Not yours.
Okay. This is another one of those things about family that you don't know. It's now my business. And I'm older than you. I'm more experienced than you. And I can kick his ass.
I'd really rather you didn't, and his ass isn't nearly as easy to kick as you might think. Don't kick his ass. We literally just hired him to help us kick other people's asses.
Yeah, the lady can heal him, can't she?
Then what's the point?
The memory of pain.
This is non-productive.
I'm not
You're blowing
convinced.
You're blowing my whole I don't care what happens to him thing. Don't mess it up.
Well, I guess we'll find out, huh?
Oh my lord.
What do you mean?
Back inside, granddaughter.
Please don't do this. Please don't do this.
He takes you by the shoulders and turns you and
Oh my god, this.
I get up and walk outside. Where's Athgarr?
a few paces off from the entrance to the traveler.
I don't think any of us gave you leave.
Oh.
Tell him that.
Go inside.
Oh.
Yeah, I just need to borrow him for a minute.
Oh my.
Sorry, no. Gwen doesn't look like she wants that to happen, and he works for us.
That shit is hilarious.
Theo just stares at Aribell for a long second and turns around and looks at Athgarr. Saved by the paladin. We're gonna talk, boy. I am at your disposal whenever I'm allowed to be.
I stand to the side and to the open door and Athgarr?
He turns and walks back in.
Thank you, Aribell. Cooler heads and all that.
I think Gaygo is on her way. We'll talk to her and then we should probably get going before it gets too warm.
grandfather, we need to go soon, and I'm thinking maybe that's for the best. Would you like me to escort you home?
No, I think I'm gonna sit out here for a while and enjoy the sun. I'll probably be here when you come out.
Okay. I go back in.
Athgarr has returned to leaning up against the tent post.
I say to Gwen, sorry for being rude to your grandfather.
Not at all. I act as though Athgarr is invisible. I don't even acknowledge he's there.
So we're going to ask Gaygo to go with us, is the plan?
Yes, that is the plan.
Great.
And as soon as she gets here, we should do that and get on our way before the sun gets hot. We have the carpet out.
Always.
I would assume so, yeah. My assumption was that somebody was regularly carrying it rolled up, strapped to their back.
It's probably me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. Well, it doesn't take too long before the tent flap is opened and Gaygo walks in.
Gaygo. It's good to see you.
And you as well. I assume everything went well, shepherding the former slaves somewhere safe.
Yes.
If I may ask, where did you end up taking them?
The sanctum.
Oh. That makes a certain amount of sense. Well done.
Thank you. Aribell's idea.
Good like that. With the thinking.
Not always.
Most of the time. Well, sit.
I shall. Trigo. Yes, my lady, good morning. Good morning. My usual, please. Coming right up?
What is your usual?
Bread, meat, alcohol.
I'm having that.
Hey, speaking of which, does my metabolism change because I'm now a little tiny bit dragon?
No.
Probably not. Okay, dang, I was hopeful. Okay, just checking.
So,
Yes.
I'm happy that you've come back, but I'm curious why you've come back. You...
Not finished our quest.
Find out what's going on with the Jogravannans. And we have been given the additional task of becoming diplomatic envoys for Western Aecathan.
Oh my. Yes, the chieftain and I have been discussing the theoretical possibility that the prohibition against entering that area of the world uninvited might not be in force any longer.
As far as we know, there are no gem dragons.
Yes, so Tasha Pranatiel has said. And I suppose if there are, I can always plead ignorance and beg forgiveness.
So, would you be willing to come with us?
For a little while, certainly.
Well, that would be wonderful.
I have requested advisement from the council. I'm waiting while Tasha Pranatiel speaks with the others, and then she will let me know, hopefully, before we reach the border.
What do you seek to know?
If it's okay.
Their feelings on this theoretical assessment. If they all disagree with the chieftain and myself, then I will go no further than the Dunemount. If
Understood.
they agree with our assessment, then I will be free to accompany you further.
That seems wise. Well, then, would you be
Shall
willing
we?
to leave today? She wants to eat breakfast first.
Certainly. I have just been whiling away my time here, and talking with folk and listening to stories and offering a few of my own, and such things can be done at any time.
Well, then after breakfast, let's go.
If I might ask, is your friend no longer allowed to sit with you?
No, he is. He's choosing to stand there.
He's chosen not to be our friend. He has chosen to be our employee.
Then why did you hire him?
Great question. Speaking of which, just to be clear, everyone, I would rather not employ Athgarr. I know that you all want to have him with us, but I would rather not under these circumstances. But I defer to your better judgment, as I realize mine is not the best in this situation. I am hardly an impartial or objective person when it comes to him.
Well, if you have employed him, you can terminate the employment.
Yes, thank you. That is true. However, that is something we need to discuss. Yeah. It's just going to be uncomfortable for a day or so until we can have a discussion.
Bundrigo brings over a platter and sits food down in front of Gaygo, who begins eating.
Can he overhear this conversation?
Oh yeah.
Then I won't say more.
I play more music and sip my rum-laced coffee.
Okay.
I'm just sitting. I mean, like, there's nothing. We're waiting for Gaygo to eat, and then we're gonna get on our way.
All right. Well, she finishes relatively quickly since no one's talking. She stands, walks over to Bundrigo, leans over, exchanges a few words, hands him some coins, comes back to the table. Well, you've been more than patient. So if you are ready to depart, I am ready to depart with you.
All right. Well, then let's move on. I believe we're going to have to travel by carpet. Can we fit 6 people on the carpet?
You can fit 5. But why do you need 6?
She
Well-
can fly.
Yeah, that's true.
Pulled our carpet before.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go a little faster.
So we get everybody on the carpet, and I stand there before I get on the carpet and I say, we have no idea where we're headed. And the Jogravanan, it's been how many days since they've been passed through here?
About 3 days.
Gaygo's been hanging around?
Mm-hmm.
How's the weather been?
She tells you that it's been sunny, hot, typical desert.
Not windy?
No.
So we should check to see if there are still tracks, because it is such a big caravan that there should potentially be tracks on that side.
Gwen, probably survival check.
Seven.
Easily spotted. And they are absolutely headed west out of the oasis.
Yes, we follow.
I get on the rug and I guess grab Gaygo's. I mean, she's gonna have to turn into a dragon,
Mm-hmm.
but get us
And
up in the air and
she is just going to match your speed.
okay.
And basically sort of fly a circuit around you as you travel, kind of
Okay.
keeping a perimeter watch.
Oh, okay. I see.
And so as you lift into the sky and head off further into the God's Wrath Desert, that's where we're going to take our break. So we'll see what the desert has in store as they get further and further away from the Aecathan they know in 15. So don't go anywhere. And welcome back. So, the day's travel is fairly uneventful. There are a couple times that Gaygo comes to fly next to the carpet to let you know she has spotted something or other and has you adjust course slightly for a little bit. But otherwise, you are able to travel with a couple stops, obviously, until the sun begins to set.
Once we stop, I'm going to ask Tasha if she would send a message for me.
Certainly.
Would you please send a message to Athgar's mentor and ask her to burn the letter? Tell her that I don't want him to read it after all.
Have I met Athgar's mentor?
Yeah, Master Ranro.
Okay.
You've definitely met her because she was one of the people who gave you your tests to become an official bard.
Okay. Master Ranro, this is Tasha. I humbly ask that you burn the letter Gwen asked you to give Athgarr.
You have 6 words left if you want to say anything else.
He shouldn't read it.
She says he shouldn't read it.
I'm not saying that part. I'm
Well,
not.
you-
That's actually an important part of the message.
You never said Gwen wanted you to send that message.
Fine. I say at her request.
There's a pause. You're a couple days late on that request. Athgarr has the letter. He read it in my presence. Sorry.
I look at Gwen and say, too late. Athgarr already has the letter.
He has it?
Oh yes, he read it in her presence.
He disappeared the night that we were still in the dawn before we left. That must have been where he went.
You knew he left?
We all knew he left.
Well, he said he was going to bed.
You knew he walked out of her little tavern.
Because she
And-
told us he went somewhere.
Oh, right. She said that she checked before she went to sleep
That's
and to check and see if everybody was, comfortable, and he wasn't in his room.
And sometimes he slept at Zagran's house, so that's where
Yeah.
she assumed he was.
Well, then I don't understand this at all. That's even worse, because he knows and hasn't said anything. What a jerk.
Listen, I'm just going to say this once. None of this is going to get resolved until the two of you hash all of this shit up by yourselves.
Fine. Where is he?
In his own mansion.
Well, then there's nothing I can do.
You can knock on the door.
Can I? I mean, is there a door to knock on? Is that how that works?
You don't know. You know that Gaygo was able to knock.
then I will try to knock on the door.
Okay. Let's see. Make a history check.
Let me try that again. History is not an area I have a ton. 18.
You're pretty sure you remember where he opened the door to go into his mansion.
Okay.
Make
So-
an investigation check.
$15.
Try as you might, though, you can't find it.
So I'll go back and tell Tasha I cannot figure out where this thing is.
Can
Can
I?
you?
Send him a message.
Nope. Can I find his door?
You won't need the history check because of keen mind. You remember where it is, so make an investigation check.
$31.
You are absolutely certain you know exactly where it is, but when you try to find it, it doesn't exist to you.
Fine. Athgarr, please come to your front door. I sent him a message.
I got that.
Just checking.
Dice. Not wanting to come out of the tray. Okay. High or low?
Hi.
Okay. There's a pause. Very well. And the door opens.
And I look at Athgarr and I say, I order the two of you to hash this out and figure this shit out, and I leave.
So you got the letter.
I did.
And you read it.
I did.
And you have nothing to say? No reaction? You didn't even tell me you got it?
You clearly wrote that some time ago.
Clearly.
And it is clearly no longer relevant.
And why would you assume that?
I have eyes. I have ears.
And yet you remain completely stupid. Do you not understand that everything I did was to protect you because I cared about you?
If I were still a child, the steps you took would have been appropriate.
I didn't say that I showed my affection in the best way, but it was the only way I knew. I figured I couldn't do without you, so I arranged so that I wouldn't have to.
And how did you do that?
By protecting you.
Yeah, that wasn't protection.
Okay. That's what it was intended to be.
It was emasculation.
Okay. Well, I've put myself out there. I've gotten nothing in return from you except to have you leave without a word and cut me out of your life. So it's clear to me that this is one-sided, and so that's fine. I just needed to clear the air, and now I have.
It's fascinating to get insight into actually how your mind works.
I'm glad that it's been illuminating for you.
For the record, I did not cut you out of my life. I cut myself out of all of your lives.
That's semantics.
No, that was intent. Aribell made it.
Was the same.
Aribell made it quite clear that I was no longer wanted, and so I left. And being not wanted, I made certain that I would not trouble you, that I would not bother you, that you would not be able to check up on me in the hopes that you would stop worrying about me and go on with your lives, as it was made very clear to me that mine was to be separate from the four of yours.
Okay, you now know I had no idea that that conversation took place.
Which
So
changes little.
It changes everything, because I didn't send you away. I didn't ask you to cut yourself out of my life.
No, you simply made it clear that all I was an irritant. That my point of view simply made you angry and unhappy and upset. So no, of course, you didn't send me away in so many words.
Sounds like you're the one making a lot of assumptions now.
I'm reacting to what I was shown.
And yet you're ignoring what you've read.
Because it is no longer relevant. You've made that very clear.
What I've made clear is that I'm angry with you for cutting me out of your life and making sure that I couldn't make sure that you were okay, following through on your ultimatum. Exactly as I explained in the letter that you have read.
I didn't remember this ultimatum.
I am not responsible for your lack of memory.
But I am also not responsible for taking into consideration something that I did not even recall.
You made the ultimatum, and ultimately, you followed through on it.
And again, you listen only to what you choose to hear.
I hear you say, it's not my fault because I didn't remember that I did it. You still did it, whether you remember doing it or not. And you're not looking at any perspective but your own. I know that you said that. I watched what you did. From my perspective, it seemed quite intentional.
Well, I am telling you now that in terms of what I said all those weeks ago in the sanctum, that had nothing to do with my decision.
Well, I have to tell you, that's cold comfort now. I've spent those weeks thinking that you have walked away without a second thought.
Oh, no. I walked away with a score of thoughts. But as it was made clear that a way I should be, that score of thoughts went with me.
And now you know that I didn't send you away.
And again, I ask, and exactly what difference does that make now?
That you shouldn't hold others' actions against me. You should not blame me for your being sent away when I didn't do that. You've been bitter toward me because you were sent away, and I don't deserve that. You should not hold me responsible for someone else's actions.
They simply put into words what your actions told me.
What you assumed.
How else was I to interpret the fact that every time I tried to speak to you, every time I tried to explain myself, you flew into a rage? That is your idea of enticing someone to stay?
When given the ultimatum that you could leave if you cut me out of your life, I had you stay. That's not the actions of a person who wants you to leave.
And then, practically every time thereafter, when we would have a discussion, we would end up screaming at each other. So you didn't say, "I don't want you here," but your actions spoke it much louder.
I think that you need to stop making assumptions. If I wanted you to go, I would have told you to leave. As you've said, I'm always quick to tell you what it is that I'm thinking. So if that was something I wanted, I would have let you know that.
I'm not the only one who saw it. Obviously. If Aribell saw the same as I would say your perceptions are lacking, not mine. She saw the same thing I did and decided that I separate myself from the four of you. She based that on the same thing I based my decision on. Did she tell you I was already packing?
She did.
Because it had been made clear to me that you no longer wanted me around.
I was leaving. Her decision to ask you to go was based on the fact that I had already decided to leave. And I had communicated that I would be leaving. And that's when she acted. So no, I was not asking you to leave. I was expecting you to stay while I left. But I would not have cut you out of my life. I would have stayed in touch with you, as I always have.
You still don't understand. This was not targeted at you. The Four sent me away. I severed contact with the Four.
I am not simply one of the four. I had thought I was more to you than that, at least. I've known you far longer than I've been a part of this group. So you can tell yourself whatever you need to sleep at night. But you have cut me, and we go back much further than the four ever did. You know this. So you can put whatever spin on it that allows you to feel like you've done the right thing. But you know damn well that you stopped communicating with me.
I did
Regardless.
the only thing available to me.
No.
I
Untrue.
left as I was asked to leave, and I found my own path.
And you ensured that I could not communicate with you.
I ensured that none of you could contact me.
If you think that raising your voice to me is going to rattle me, you're going to have to try harder than that, Athgarr. You did not have to. You chose to not communicate with me and to make sure I could not communicate with you. No one asked you to do that.
And tell me, from what was I supposed to glean that any of you would want to contact me?
The fact that you and I have been in contact our entire lives? Have you conveniently forgotten that?
You were tasked with watching me.
Okay, I'm not going to continue to put myself out there. I told you how I felt.
Yes, past tense, felt. I understand that.
Well, I also explained in the letter that you taking off the way you did was heartbreaking. And you continue to tell yourself that you didn't do anything wrong in the way that you left.
Did it ever occur to you that being sent away was heartbreaking?
Well, until just recently, I didn't know you'd been sent away. And I know that it undoubtedly dented your ego to be sent away. But as you said...
because that's all I have is ego.
But as you said, you're a bard. Jobs end. But I thought that you and I were family. Or perhaps something other than that. And I never severed that. Apparently you were okay with doing that. And that's on your conscience.
I wasn't given a choice.
You were.
I was sent away. I was told to leave. I was told to leave because my presence was making you uncomfortable. That my presence was disrupting the cohesion of the four. So tell me why I would want to initiate further contact and further disrupt Aecathan's greatest adventuring group.
Because you cared.
That's why I stayed away.
I think you and I have different understandings of what caring looks like. So, again, they asked that we have a conversation and have this out.
And you continue to lack the comprehension necessary to understand the reality of this situation. You are so bound up in your own sense of pain that you have no room for anyone else's.
Are you sure you're not speaking of yourself?
How else would I know what it looks like? I acknowledge that I am damaged.
So do you want me to acknowledge that I am? Sure, Athgarr. Do you feel better?
Strangely, no.
You can put whatever spin on it. But I didn't walk away from you.
And I didn't walk away from you of my own volition.
So if I extend you the grace for saying that you didn't leave me intentionally, can we put this behind us? Can you stop blaming me for actions that were not taken by me?
I'm not blaming you.
You're not blaming me as one of the four that sent you away? Because I didn't.
I'm aware of that. My interpretation of your behavior was that you didn't want me around anymore. If that was incorrect, so be it.
It is incorrect.
But that was my interpretation.
Your interpretation was flawed.
That interpretation was supported by Aribell's action.
And yet still flawed.
I'm going to have to think my way through this.
Okay. I'm willing to put this behind. That's the most I can do. You know, I have gone through my own training while you were gone. And one of the messages that I received was that there's a difference between being a noble and being noble. One of the differences being that being noble involves a set of behaviors and ways of being that involve things like giving grace, even when there's no standard that would say you need to. And I think that applies to this situation. So I am going to try to be noble. and let this go. Despite, as you've said, the hurt that was caused. Let's see if you can do the same. Noble as you are.
I don't believe in nobility anymore. But I believe in law. And I believe in truth.
Well, then you should hear the ring of it in my words.
I will think on what you've said.
Very well. Good evening. And I leave.
And he turns and walks back through the door, which vanishes afterwards.
I go back to the others and say, I did what I could. I put it out there. He didn't want to hear it, but I tried.
We want him to leave.
How did he leave it?
That he would need to think on this.
Well, then we should give him time to think.
Yes.
Because
What
he's
did-
had quite some time to twist how all of that went. And he needs time to straighten it out in his mind.
Gwen, can you handle him staying?
Depends on who stays. If it's the asshole Merc, then I'm not that interested in him staying, no. I think we're better off without him. But you all asked me to clear the air. I did my best.
I think you did. I appreciate that.
So what
It's
are
up to
your thoughts in terms of whether he remains?
It's not up to us. It's up to you.
Well, we'll see which Athgarr shows up tomorrow.
I think it might take more than a day.
What?
I think we need to give him at least the rest of the week.
Unless it gets out of hand.
Yes. But I mean, he is really hurt.
Yes, so he told me
No,
over
no,
and
no.
over.
I'm not saying I take responsibility for at least part of this.
You know, as much as he thinks he's grown in his adventures, he still is no better at taking responsibility than he was before.
That is true.
He's quick to blame others for the pain he experienced, but he takes no responsibility for the pain he inflicted.
That is something he needs to work on, for sure. I had hoped that he would grow up some. And he is still emotionally stunted.
Yes, I think that his version of growing up and ours are perhaps different.
I agree.
Well, on that happy note, I think I'm going to retire.
Understandable.
I've had about all the drama I'm up for today.
I too am going to bed.
Right. do. I seek the solace of being alone.
All right. Good night. I'm sorry that it is so complicated.
It shouldn't be this difficult.
I know.
I go to bed.
Given that you're in the mansion, the evening passes uneventfully, and you're able to complete a long rest.
Yay! Is Gaygo sleeping in the mansion too?
No.
Okay.
She's actually sleeping in dragon form on the sands.
Okay. Goodness. That was the most progress they've made, though. Thank goodness.
You don't know. I mean,
No, I would have told you. I would have recapped as much of the
oh, okay.
conversation.
Sorry. Yes, that is as much as as has gone on before.
I think she got through to him some.
Well,
Did he get through to you at all, Gwen?
I told him I was willing to put it behind me.
That is very generous.
I told him I would extend him grace. I
It's
don't know
not-
what more I can do.
Well, I guess I'm asking, you said you'd offer him grace. Did you give him a reason to extend some to you?
I don't understand what you mean.
This isn't all Athgar's fault.
Right, that's...
You extended him a branch that you would forgive him,
Yes.
take ownership so he could forgive you.
Well, I can't take ownership for the thing that he's most angry about, which is being sent away.
But you were going to leave because you couldn't be around him. So then he was going to leave because you couldn't have a civil conversation with him, which is what led to the decision being asked him to leave. So there is some responsibility on both of your parts. All we've done is talk about Athgar's fault.
Yes. I can apologize for the... I did tell him that it was coming from a place of caring and that I was not the best at showing it. So I think I have indicated that I was at fault for not showing my caring in the right ways.
That shouldn't make a difference.
I don't know that it will. He told me that that was not caring. He said it was emasculating, which is certainly the most negative interpretation of my behavior that he could adopt.
Well, I mean, maybe if you apologize for his... Yeah. If you apologize for not being able to have a civil discussion with him.
I think often our intent doesn't matter as much as perception. I never meant for him to feel like I was sending him away forever.
Yeah.
Take a break while you guys calm down, and he took that as we never wanted to see him again. So again, what I intended was not what he perceived.
I will apologize further.
So difficult. I'm so sorry. I wish we could go back in time and take all of this back.
Indeed. Well, I guess we'll carry this on tomorrow then.
Yes.
Go see Gaygo and
See if Athgar's ready to go too.
yep.
As you emerge from the mansion, you see Gaygo in elven form, standing a little ways off, having a discussion with Athgarr.
I will approach.
Ah, good morning.
Good morning, Gaygo.
I trust you slept well.
I've slept better.
Gwenlauren.
Athgarr, I've given further thought to our conversation last night, and I want to apologize for the many arguments that we had and the part that I played in those. And for acting in a way that led you to believe I wanted you to go.
Thank you. Apology accepted. Gaygo looks at Athgarr and looks at Gwenlauren and then looks back at Athgarr. Are you still interested in what we discussed? I think so. Very well. And she turns and begins to walk away from the group.
What's happening?
I won't be riding on the carpet today. Gaygo has agreed to allow me to assist her in scouting. And after she's gotten about 50 feet off, you see her. She moved off so she wouldn't knock anybody over.
I hope that distance gives you clarity. And I'll go find the carpet.
As you walk back to the carpet, you realize that Athgarr is following you.
I thought you were going with Gaygo.
I am. But I wish to tell the others as well.
Okay.
So as you were all preparing the carpet, Athgarr walks up. Gaygo has agreed to allow me to assist her in scouting, so I will be traveling with her.
As you wish.
I'll be riding a dragon. I'm not going to turn that opportunity down.
Hold on real tight.
He thinks for a moment and then just nods and turns around and walks toward Gaygo.
I did what I could.
All right.
He seems less surly.
Let's get on the carpet and do this thing.
Okay.
All right. How much
I
or...
give
Oh, go ahead.
I give Gwen a hug.
How much of the travel from this point on do you want to role play, and how much do you just want to travel?
I just want to travel.
Unless anybody needs to say anything, I think we just go.
So
Okay.
we're constantly keeping an eye out. Gaygo's keeping an eye out. We're looking around. This is for all of our flying, traveling trips, I guess, is what I want to say. And we're keeping an eye out. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Toward the end of the third day of your travel, Gaygo comes once again to hover next to the carpet, Athgarr astride her neck, and she says, "I believe I've spotted the caravan."
Ooh.
What would you like to do?
Well, I don't think you're going to breathe fire all over them, so.
Yeah, and continue following them
No.
at a slow distance. I mean, like, we can't do anything right now. They're bigger than us.
Yeah, the scorpions would take us.
Demolish us.
We need to just follow them and see where they're going.
I didn't necessarily think that we'd catch up to them in 3 days. I thought it was going to take longer.
Well, we are moving rather quickly and they are moving rather slowly. Remember that they have a train of camels, and the Tlinkali, while formidable, are not necessarily speedy.
I think stay back, and if it looks like any of them break off because they are aware of our presence, we should stop.
I agree with that.
Let's find out. So you begin pacing them. Gaygo asks, "Do you wish to be close enough for you to see them, or is my being close enough to see them sufficient?"
I think you being close enough to see them is sufficient.
Very well. That significantly decreases their chances of spotting you.
Mm-hmm. That was my intent.
Yeah.
Over the next 4 days, they do not not seem to be aware that anyone is behind them.
So have we made it to the Dunemount, or are we still headed there? Okay.
At the end of the 7th day, the rise of the sands becomes significantly pronounced. And Gaygo goes out of sight for a little bit. About half an hour later, she comes back. This... I understand now why they call it the Dunemount. These dunes must be near the same height as the Trezon mountain range.
Oh my.
It will take this caravan some time to actually cross. Given that they are following an established trail, however, I'm not certain that we need wait for them.
So we could...
Go around them and pick up the trail again.
We'll be able to surmount the sands much faster than them.
That's worth a try.
Yeah, I mean, considering we know that they're headed one way, and they're going to take the same trail, we are going to be able to not head them off the path, but get ahead of them and see where it goes. I think that's a great idea.
Very well. Athgarr and I have discussed this, and she kind of cranes her back, and Athgarr nods. When we depart in the morning, Athgarr will rejoin you on the carpet, and I would ask that Gwen Lauren join me.
Okay. Of course.
Once we cross the mountains, we will need your tracking skills to make certain that we pick up the trail. It is likely to be less pronounced because we do not have a fresh caravan laying it.
Yes. Very well.
So the next morning, Athgarr walks over to climb aboard the carpet, and Gaygo helps Gwen Lauren climb up. And as you take off, you fade off to the right of where the caravan is beginning to attempt the ascent. And you begin climbing.
Follow.
Two things become very clear very quickly.
It's for cold.
The temperature drops. And toward the top of the Dunemount, you begin to notice it's getting a little difficult to breathe. Not impossible, but it seems more difficult to get a full breath. It's not a very comfortable feeling. Shortly after noon, it appears that the crest of the peak is getting closer. And after a few minutes, direct travel, no longer climbing, it becomes apparent that there's a bit of a plateau.
Probably stop.
As you begin your descent toward the plateau, let's see, I need Tasha and Zorith to make an Arcana check.
One.
Say again?
21.
Okay.
I also got a 21.
Okay. Zorith. You become aware of kind of a scratching sensation in your connection to the magical energy of the world.
Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Oh, that's
About
gonna
this
suck.
time, you see Gaygo
Uh-oh.
and immediately starts heading down toward the plateau at a kind of a
High rate.
natural angle.
Pull
Are
back.
we crashing?
They are. You guys are, I think. I don't have any feather fall or anything like that.
I mean, I have my boots.
Oh, you may want to try to grab onto. I can't say anything, but you may want to. If she falls, you may want to. Whatever happens there,
If
Gwen,
she's crashing, I'm going to try to not.
To your perception, it's like all of a sudden she's having trouble flying. It's not that she's not flying, but it's almost like she's drunk. Her control seems to have dipped. It isn't gone, but she seems to be having trouble coordinating all of her body parts.
Gaygo, I think we need to land.
I'm trying.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Hang on tight.
Okay, I do that.
Do I get anything from
No.
my roll?
No.
Okay. Alrighty then.
Gwen Lauren, I need you to make an athletics check.
That would be a 21.
Just enough.
Ooh.
It is a rough landing. It pretty much, she doesn't quite get her legs down and ends up sort of hitting and sliding in the sand. And she comes to a stop and just kind of sits there for a second and then just kind of lays her head down on the sand.
Oh my gosh.
Are you okay?
Something is wrong.
Can you change into your human form?
am I feeling the effects of that as well? And have we gone down on the carpet to them?
You're in control of the carpet. You're the
Well,
pilot,
obvious.
so
Okay, yeah, I'm going to aim the carpet towards them.
Okay. The scratching sensation gets worse.
Then I say, define my scratching sensation. I'm sorry.
Imagine if your connection to the ambient magic of the world is you're hearing 9 musical notes at the same time. And now a majority of them are distorted. Not all of them.
And I tell everybody what I'm feeling. Like, it's really loud in my head, and all of the thoughts are jumbled, and I can't concentrate.
Is the carpet having any issues?
No.
Okay. So, I'm gonna land, and I am gonna ask Gaygo, or I'm gonna tell her, because it's not affecting anyone else, right? Is it affecting Tasha the same way?
Doesn't seem to be.
I try to.
This is a dragon thing.
Oh. Not a magic thing, maybe some sort of barrier from the gem dragon.
Yeah, maybe.
Just to. I'm gonna. I'll just use guidance. I'm gonna cast guidance on Zori. Just see if I have any trouble reaching Torora.
Nope, not a bit.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes, maybe a dragon thing.
Maybe a dragon thing. Ooh, well, that's entertaining.
Is Athgarr, can you?
Oh, I forgot to roll for him.
Does your sorcerer magic feel strange? Your bardic magic is divine, right? Not arcane.
Right. Athgarr is standing, just shaking his head.
Oh, maybe it's an arcane thing.
Then why wouldn't it affect you?
Because bards are the paladins of Dressfiend, so I would imagine it's
Well,
divine.
but she's an arcane bard.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's not bothering. Well, I tried.
Very confused. They're not the same kind of bard.
No.
Is it because he's now sorcerer?
You don't know.
and are rangers divine or arcane?
Divine.
Okay.
Yeah, rangers and druids both get their spells from the same source.
I tried casting levitate with my lute.
And you float up into the air.
Okay, well, I'm not having any problems.
Can you use something not a magic item? Because the carpet's fine.
I tried casting message.
And whatever message you choose to send to whoever you choose to send it to seems to work just fine.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not feeling weird. And it seems to be working.
I cast detect magic.
Seems
I
to
don't
work just
see any.
fine.
Right, but I'm looking around. There's no kind of
Nothing that is unexpected.
Okay.
I'm going to try to cast prestidigitation
Okay.
and yeah, I'm just gonna try to prestidigitation. We're all dusty. I'm gonna reach out and touch myself to get it cleaned off, the dirt cleaned off.
Seems to work just fine.
I don't
Athgarr
understand.
concentrates for a moment, hums something, and disappears to reappear out by the edge of Gaygo's wing. You recognize that he cast Misty Step. I don't understand what this is.
No, you've never experienced anything like this before?
No.
So, is there anything on the ground? It's a flat place. Is it a flat place with tiles in it of worship? Is it a circle? Is it like what?
It's sand. Although it does seem to be sand covering rock. But it's sand.
I don't know.
Investigate. Can I see the rock?
If you dig a little bit.
I dig a little bit
Okay.
to see if there are any runes or anything like that that would give away something about this area.
Make a survival check. To the best of your knowledge, this looks like it was once perhaps an active volcano range, but it seems to have been long dormant, and it's just rough volcanic rock.
I mentioned that to Gaygo. Does that ring any bells? Do you know if they perhaps made this area their home?
I don't know. This... I am unable to shift.
It's not good. Does it get better if you move in? If you start to move back toward the direction we came in?
Yes, let's check that. Here, jump on the carpet with me. And is it Athgarr too? Yes?
Yes.
Then all three of us are going to jump on the carpet. And
Well,
head back.
Gaygo is still dragon form.
Oh, I thought she...
She wasn't able to shift to elven form.
Oh.
So
Then
she
let's fly back.
sort of crawls to her feet and turns around and begins to kind of clumsily walk on all fours back toward the other side of the plateau. Do you go ahead of her or do you stay with her?
Me?
We're
Zorith,
going to go
on the carpet.
side by side.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk next to her.
And they...
I'll
Aren't
go
we
on the-
up high on the cliff? They can't walk next to us, right?
Yeah, it's a plateau.
Oh, I was saying that we would
Well,
go off the... That's why I got
so
on the
you're
carpet.
you're moving back toward the eastern side of the plateau.
Oh, okay.
Because Gaygo's crawling. She can't fly right now.
Yeah.
I'm going on the carpet to make sure they don't fall off.
Okay. Slowly, as you move across the plateau back toward the eastern edge, the sensation begins to fade.
we can still do magic, but it's just gonna hurt.
So it's some kind of residual, possibly residual boundary.
Yeah, I
Perhaps
guess.
once we're outside of it, we
I-
can learn better.
I don't think so.
You don't think it's a boundary?
Well, it clearly has an edge. But as it only seems to get stronger the further toward the other side we go, unless it lessens after you crest the other edge of this plateau, that would probably be something to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you to do that while I wait here?
Absolutely. So,
I will go with you.
I will go too.
do.
I'll watch over Gaygo.
Aribell, I assume you're staying with Gaygo as well.
I think so.
Okay. Zorith swings the carpet around and begins back over the plateau of the Dunemount, and the closer to the other side you get, the stronger the sensation gets. You pass the edge of the drop down the other side, and the sensation seems to not grow any worse, but it doesn't get any stronger either.
Doesn't let up and it doesn't get stronger. It's just constant.
Yeah.
And I look at Athgarr and I say that.
I figured out a better analogy. It's kind of like if you imagine you have, from cantrip to 9th level, you have 10 television monitors. And starting from left to right, the pictures look just fine, but at some point it goes to that trying to watch a scrambled channel kind of picture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sensation, is that it's the colors off, the vertical and the horizontal are off. It's twitching.
And I ask him, has it gotten any worse? Has it gotten any better?
Not since we passed the other edge of the plateau. It's just... the dissonance is unpleasant.
I agree. I look out a little further. How far off the plateau are we? We're not off of it. We're just at the edge of it, right?
No, you went past the edge.
How far?
Let's see, it moves this like 120 feet.
You want to go a little further to see if it gets any better, or shall we go back? And
Athgarr
what's underneath of us?
Athgarr peers over the edge.
Yes.
I don't see anything moving. I see sand.
So we go another 150 feet.
Okay. No change.
Ugh, God, this is gonna suck. And I say, let's go back.
All right.
And as we get back, I say, maybe this isn't something we can do. Go over to Western Aecathan. I don't know. I never felt anything like that.
It's like casting as a sorcerer is so different than casting as a bard. Casting as a sorcerer is so raw. But this feels as if it's writhing. But not all of it. I don't have enough experience with sorcery to really understand this.
Well, and my sorcery is now different because I no longer have wild magic to handle. I have the other magic, and
That's it. That's what it feels like.
Like
wild
what?
magic.
Like if I were to seize that part of the magic, it would automatically be wild.
Hmm.
Like it's already out of control.
Right. But it did not affect our magic, right?
Didn't seem to. I was
Okay,
able
hold on.
to. I was
Hold
able
on.
to move.
How difficult of a spell is that for you?
The second rank.
All right. Is there any... You said there's rocks?
No, there's just sand.
Okay, well, that's not gonna work. Hold please, hold please. Alright, I'm gonna cast 6th level Burning Hands. Oh, wait, hold on. That's a lie. Whoa. No. No. Excuse me. I digress. Let's see. I'm gonna cast a 4th level Burning Hands. Does it? I'm just gonna do it on top of the sand. That doesn't. Burning Hand just basically says a thin sheet of flame shoots forth from your outstretched fingertips.
Right.
So I'm gonna try to make the sand diamonds or jewels with the glass with the thing.
Okay.
But it's a level 4 spell.
The flame leaps from your outstretched hand and strikes the sand, throwing some of it into the air and crystallizing some of it. It works exactly as you expected.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Well, that is. I chose a larger level spell because I wanted to see if it worked like wild magic, whereas, when you do a large spell, it can go wonky. But that did exactly what it was supposed to do. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I fear second rank is the strongest sorcery I possess.
What time of the day is it?
It's, let's see, probably very close to sunset at this point.
I think we should go back to beyond this weird barrier and rest for the night. See if Gaygo recovers some and decide what to do in the morning. We might need to leave Gaygo here. Because it might be
Not
too
to
painful.
travel with her further.
Right, because it might
I
be
see.
too painful for her.
I was like, I'm not leaving Gaygo here. Oh, got you. Send her back, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so where are you going to set up camp?
Well, not on the trail.
Um,
You
And
guys come back.
what?
Do you come back?
yeah, we come back.
Yeah,
to
I
it.
assumed we'd be back. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I
We're gonna-
explained what happened and what?
Are we using the mansion?
Yeah,
Gaygo can come in the mansion, right?
no. Well, I mean,
Well,
you
Oh,
can-
not as dragon
you
form,
come.
huh?
By the time you get back, she has managed to resume elven form
Oh, okay.
because you're basically at the eastern edge of the plateau.
I asked her if she would like to join us in the mansion for the evening,
That would be wonderful.
and that way we can all be in the mansion and
And Athgarr, if he wants
Yeah.
to come in, are also.
Athgarr, would you be willing
Yeah.
to stay with us tonight? I think we'll need to talk about what to do.
If you wish. All right. So, Tasha, need you to roll percentile for me.
We've moved. We've moved, right? We talked about moving out of the way.
Well,
Yeah.
you're all the way to the eastern edge of the plateau.
No. Well, you stopped me. I was going to say that we were actually getting off the trail and going back down to the flats.
It
yeah.
took you 6 hours to get from the surface of the desert to the top of the Dunemount.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah.
Where did it start feeling weird?
Partway across the plateau. So,
I mean,
what,
we don't have to go all the way back down. If we just are off the plateau, does it go away?
you don't know, you haven't gone back off the plateau.
Well, let's do that.
I guess I need you to explain to me what the plateau looks like. Like, is it Devil's Tower?
Yeah, essentially. It's there's a flat.
And cliff on the other side,
Yeah.
like Devil's Tower.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because we flew up to the top.
Right.
Right.
So it's not like
I-
we can just climb down.
Right.
Right. I was thinking
Okay.
it was more like a mountain, and then just a flat part of the mountain range. But no, apparently not.
So, Tasha, what did you get?
11.
Okay. The mansion door opens.
Okay. Go in.
Yeah, I guess we all go in. Is it the normal mansion?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right.
We're all suspicious. Sorry, Jeff.
Which
Right.
which configuration did you build it in this time?
The fly around
Okay.
configuration.
All right.
And you know, I have the bird servants prepare a nice warm meal for everyone. And I sit everyone down and I say, I'm just not sure what we can do from here. I mean, some of us need to go to Western Aecathan, but it's clear that the magic is unstable and painful for some of us.
Not gonna split up.
Well, it's bothersome, but it's not painful.
Okay.
I would agree.
It's
There you go.
like a constant ringing in one's ear. It's
Oh,
annoying.
That's horrible.
Yes, it's magical tinnitus.
Gaygo, what did it feel like for you?
It felt like I was a wormling again. It was as if I'd forgotten how to control my limbs. It was terrifying.
Probably doesn't make sense for you to go farther. At least until we find out what's causing this.
Agreed. Though it pains me to admit it.
And us.
On the other hand, this was definitely unexpected. And as one approaches their 3rd century, surprises should be looked upon as opportunities for learning. So I will try to view this as such. I'm sure that Tasha Pranatiel and the others are going to be very interested in this.
Let you know as soon as we find out what's going on or we make it back.
I do have to wonder, do the Jogravanan suffer this?
I don't know. I have to wonder that too. And we still need to find out where they're going. That's the most important thing.
It hasn't affected me at all, so their clerics are probably fine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But their mages might have some problems.
And Gwenlaren, has it affected you?
Well, I think we should all get some rest and talk about this more tomorrow.
I think that a wise course of action.
Have you stayed with us in the mansion before, Gaygo?
Oh,
Overnight?
yes.
Okay.
No, actually, not overnight.
Well-
You've invited me to dinner several times, but I don't believe I've ever stayed here before.
Well, let me show you to your room then.
Ah.
And Athgarr, I will show you to your room as well.
Just
No.
tell me Which one? I'm going to sit in front of the fire for a bit.
Oh, all right. You're on this, not the top floor, but the floor below that. And,
No, he'd be on the top floor because all the guest rooms are on the same floor.
oh, sorry. Okay.
So it's a matter of, like, at the end of the hall, there's the one on the right, the one on the left, and the one at the end.
You have the one on the end. On the top floor.
Thank you.
And I show Gaygo to her room, which is the one on the right.
Okay. And as everyone settles in for the evening, obviously that's a good place to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll pick this back up next time. Kind of an interesting beginning for Western Aecathan.
Indeed.
Super exciting, not at all.
I don't know. I think it's a little exciting.
Well, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you for watching. We do appreciate your attention. And we'll be back next Tuesday night, when hopefully we will be able to welcome you back to the lands of Aecathan. Good night, everybody.